All right, so in this question, it's asking us to find the slope of the following linear relations. So A says y equals 6x minus 1. And remember, when we have our equation, this is actually in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is our constant of the variation and b is our initial value. So our slope, or our constant, is this m, which means that our slope in this case is going to be the 6. So I'm going to write m equals 6. The variable m represents slope. This one, so this is a partial variation because it has the initial value over here. This is a direct variation, so it is in the form y equals mx, which means that our slope is this here. So our slope is 12. If we are trying to find slope using a graph, this is for B, we are going to use a different strategy, and that is the formula that slope, m, is equal to rise over run. Okay, so I'm going to make my right angle triangle and look at how much I'm rising up and my run. So my rise, I'm going to count how many units I'm going up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means my rise is 4. I'm going up 4 units. And then my run is 1, 2. But I'm running to the left, and anytime you run left, it's actually a negative number. So that means my rise was 4, and my run was -2. And I'm going to simplify. 4 divided by -2 is -2. So that's my slope. Once again, I'm trying to find the slope between these two coordinates. So I'm going to look at my rise and my run. So when you're given a graph, our slope is calculated using the rise over the run. So I'm looking at, imagine like the grid is a path and you're looking at how many units it'll take to go up and to the right before you get to the next point. So it also helps to draw the triangle. Oh, this is a bit messy. So here my rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, and my run is 1. So my rise is 4 and my run is 1. And for the final answer, I don't need to write it as 4 over 1, I can just write it as 4. In this example, I don't have my 2 points given to me. I'm still finding the slope using the rise and run of the equation, or of the graph, I mean. But I need to draw the 2 points that I'm going to be looking at myself. It can be any 2 points on the graph, but what I recommend is that you use points that fall nicely on the grid lines. So somewhere where the horizontal and the vertical lines of the grid, where they meet like this. So I can put the point anywhere, but I'm going to put it somewhere where the two points meet. So it wouldn't make sense for me to put the coordinate right here because this is in between, and then it's hard to count units because you have halves, so it's hard to tell. But so instead, I'm going to I'll use this point right here. I'll use that right there because that's nicely in the corner. And I'm looking where else I can put it. I'm going to put it right here. That's where I'm going to put my coordinate. I could have done it here, anywhere where it meets the horizontal and vertical grid lines nicely, which is a little bit hard to explain not in person. So I'm going to look at my rise and my run. So it looks like I'm rising just 1 unit and I'm running 2 units. So I'm going to substitute that into the equation. My rise was 1 unit and my run was 2 units. And it's positive because it's going up that way. So that's it. Again, I need to draw the dots myself. Sometimes it's kind of hard because, especially if you don't zoom in enough to be able to see, because like over here, for example, I don't know if you could see this dot right here would not be a good one to use because it doesn't really go where the horizontal and vertical lines meet. It passes it. But here it does. See how this one is right in the corner there? So I'm going to use this as one of my coordinates. And my other coordinate is going to be this one over here. Sorry, it's going to be this one over here. Okay, so I'm going to draw my triangle for my rise and run, and I'm going to count how many units I'm going up. So I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. And I'm going across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So as with anything, it's always good to write out the formula every time, just to show your work and to help you remember it. So we always say slope is equal to rise over run. And that equals, our rise here was 8. And our run, I ran to the left, so my run is actually negative. And our final answer, we never leave the negative number in the denominator. We always bring it in front of the fraction. So for my final answer, I would say that the slope is negative 8 over 5. The whole fraction is negative, not just the denominator. And if I made a mistake, because you noticed that initially I forgot actually to put the negative in front of the 5. When I got to my end and my final answer, I could always verify, okay, well this line is going down. It's going so that means it has a negative slope because it's going down. So I know that my slope should be a negative number, which is why I knew to go back and correct that -5.